I wanted to kind of take the talk of the coaches and the lead players and kind of morph that into what we think next year is going to look like or what's going to happen in the offseason. Because I have been fairly negative on Drew Lock. And I will like my mind my my mind hasn't really changed. Like he is showing progress even though the team is not. So like I said, I think he's at least earned the next 4 games. Like I don't think the starting quarterback position should be given to him. I still think they need to bring in a veteran or a rookie, preferably a veteran, Fitzmagic, that can push him a little bit, but still have that backup just in case. My concern, and I haven't really gotten on Shurmur too much, is that seeing that game against the Chargers, you saw that Drew Lock was not playing bad. I mean, if Judy completes 2 of those passes, Drew Lock goes from QBR of 50 to QBR of 70, which is not, I mean, that's a big jump. And that's not even including like one of the touchdown passes that he dropped. So my concern is that Shurmur is not the right fit for the quarterback. And so I understand wanting to have that continuity with keeping the same offensive coordinator. But we've seen throughout the NFL that if you find that right coordinator, it doesn't matter if there's continuity or not. The quarterback immediately plays better. And like we saw it with Scangarello, he was, Drew Lock was better than he was this year in those games last year with Scangarello. And now you've got Shurmur in there, and it just seems like Lock is looking a little better, but the offense is just flat. The play calls aren't working. Something is wrong, and I don't think that it's mostly Drew in the offense. I think that it's a Shurmur problem. So do you think that it's worth getting rid of Shurmur and going after, say, one of the guys that was suggested from the 49ers?
Well, there was a tweet that I read earlier today where literally a year ago after week 17, the media had asked Vic Fangio if he thought that there were going to be any staff changes. And Vic Fangio went on record as saying, no, he's pretty sure he's going to keep everybody to come back. And then a few weeks later,
let go of Scangarello.
Yeah, Scangarello. So that pretty much leaves it to believe that no matter what they say after this game and the following day after Black Monday, that nobody is safe. Not even Pat Shurmur, hell, not even Vic Fangio for that matter. John Elway can wake up one day and have a revelation and fire Vic. Who knows? But I don't think that's the best answer because, and a lot of people have said this too, if you switch coordinators, then you might as well switch quarterbacks because you're going to bring a new system to Drew Lock, and Drew Lock is still trying to learn from the old system, from the older system he was trying to learn from. So that just creates a backlog, and every time that Drew goes out there and Drew fails, or he throws picks, or he doesn't do this wrong, they're going to jump on him, and he's going to start to look less and less like the answer. So me personally, if they go out there and they do the exact same thing again, where they just surprise fire Pat Shurmur and they bring in another well-known offensive coordinator, like you said, Mike, then I think that they might as well just change quarterbacks.
That will be an interesting thing to. I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that McMahon is gone. I can't imagine it will continue. Mm-hmm.
I mean, we riot if he stays.
Oh,
fireworks in people's front doors, like nah.
And let me just veer off for a quick second. Like, we've given McManus all sorts of pats on the back. He got his money this year. But I have to tell you, I'm really tired of his attitude, particularly on the sideline. Did you see how pissy he was when they decided to go for the Hail Mary? It's like, dude, you missed extra points. You missed a field goal. We wouldn't even be in this position if this were not the case. I was thinking, I wonder if they're going to kick the field goal, but I'm tired of the attitude. He's looking for the record. That's what he's really looking for, not the win. But anyway,
I think that I would always want, like, because I agree, like I'm sick of the attitude. I would have kicked him just because Hail Marys, like, the percentage is super low, and you've got McManus who can bomb it down the field. Like, at least give it a shot. The ending's going to be the
opportunity on a Hail Mary. But anyway, just going back to the Shurmur deal, that's the one that truly is such a wild card, whether there's going to be a change or not. Shurmur was on today, and he was just obviously talking as though, he's going to give Locke his homework for the off season, and they'll get cracking early and be good to go. But if you think about the Packers, when LaFleur came in and everybody was concerned about how Aaron Rodgers was going to have a new guy telling him what to do, and there was going to be a lot of clashing, and it was going to be a problem. I mean, Rodgers has just been an absolute beast under this, in the last 2 years under LaFleur, they've been fantastic. Now, would his brother inject the same sort of energy and success with the Broncos? I mean, who knows? It would be Drew's had so many offensive coordinators. Like, what's one more? I don't know.
And one of the reasons why I even thought about it was, right now you've got Drew Lock like at the very basic minimum of the playbook. Like, he's at the very dumbed down version. It's kind of like when they went from was it Orton that got hurt and then Tebow came in?
Yeah.
I think so.
They were saying that McCoy had like 1,000-page playbook, and then when Tebow came in, it went from that to like this. So like Drew Lock is at the very basic version of the offense. So even if you brought another coordinator in, that even if it was just an emotional spark or more creative play calling, but was close to where Shurmur's at as far as schemes, he wouldn't really have to change much. So, if they were going through the entire playbook, like, obviously, no, don't get rid of the coordinator. There's a problem with the offense, and I think that Locke has shown enough to stay on the team for next year and be the starter temporarily, depending on what we see. But I think that the problem is bigger than Locke. The problem is with either Shurmur or Shula or both or Fangio or all three. There's a problem in that little triangle, and I don't know what the best solution is. I would like to get rid of Shurmur and bring in someone else that can make that spark. But, is that, I want there to be continuity, but I don't want there to be continuity with a bad coach.
No, I see your point, Mike. And as I was reading in the comments, people saying, hey, what's one more? It's I just don't think that Broncos country wants to keep going through this, process of development. It's so easy for us to sit at home and, try to find somebody to blame whenever Denver loses. Was it the offensive coordinator? Was it Vic Fangio not throwing the challenge flag when he was supposed to? Was it Vic Fangio not calling a timeout when he was supposed to? Was it Drew Lock staring down receivers? The list is endless, and you could easily split that piece of pie to feed everybody on that team and still have enough to go around for the next day. It's sad for me to say that, but unfortunately, people have this idea that just because John Elway was one of the best quarterbacks in Broncos history, and hell, in the NFL for that they have that quarterback whisperer type of mentality like Pat Shurmur supposedly has, where they can just look at a guy and say, that's the guy. If that were true, the Broncos would have drafted Patrick Mahomes or one of the big quarterbacks that we have now. But unfortunately, that's just not how it is. But I just think that we should just stay the course, at least for maybe, I'd even go as far to say as what Mike said, give Pat Shurmur half of the season or a quarter of it. And if it doesn't improve, then, cut ties with him, let him go. See what we have in Mike Shula as an interim offensive coordinator. And if that doesn't work, then, see what you have in terms of who's out on to pick up in 2022 for that matter. But the fact that we keep trying to look for this one person to come in and just work a Cinderella type of thing where, the Broncos go from being one of the worst offensive this season to one of the best, it's just, it's a tall task. And we're going to need more than just a one-time shot in the arm to go, toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes and company twice a year.
Yeah, well, and that's why I said I think it's like that triangle. You got Vic, you've got Shurmur, and then you've got either Shula or Locke. One of the two is that third triangle that's making it so that we can't succeed where we should, and that's why I think we need to give them the offseason and give them the first quarter of the season to see how they do. And if it doesn't get any better, you have that veteran backup to go to. You have Shula that you can throw in there and see what he does. And then if that doesn't work, you Fangio out of there.